Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back, everybody. You are now tuned in to High at 9 News. Thank you all for joining to not only get high at 9 with us once again, but also high at noon on the East Coast. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street, and it's Tuesday, December 27th, 2022, the second day of Kwanzaa, Kuji Chagulia, a day about self-determination to define and make a name, create, and speak for ourselves. National Fruitcake Day for all the nutty folks out there who actually enjoy the worst holiday desserts in the history of capitalism. National Make Cutout Snowflakes Day, something I most definitely will be participating in at the end of today's show. And National Day of Epidemic Preparedness, because nothing's more American than making up novelty holidays to prepare for fucked up things that happened yesterday. For everyone watching, please remember to like, share, and smack that subscribe button up a little bit so y'all can follow High at 9 News on all social media platforms. We're live on weekdays on YouTube and Twitch, audio only on Clubhouse. But if you do choose the Clubhouse route, you can also participate in the show by raising your hand if you have a brief comment on the story presented. We will be getting things started in just a second here, but first, we have a message for all of you.
At True Classic OG, we live by one motto: stay true. We stay true to our legacy cut of True OG that's always fresh, piney, gassy, and delicious. We represent the spirit and hustle and diversity of our great city of Angels, and we stay true to the spirit of this plant, doing everything in-house to ensure that you get the highest quality and consistency with every batch. And that's what made us LA's favorite OG. True Classic OG. Stay true, Los Angeles.
The thoughts, opinions, and shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of individual speakers and not those of any speaker or its followers. The statements made do not constitute legal or accounting advice, and our speakers do not make any representation regarding the legal status of any substance in any country, area, territory, or any authorities. The views expressed in this room do not establish any fiduciary responsibility or relationship. Our sponsors do not imply, constitute any endorsement by us or any expression of any opinion whatsoever on the part of any speaker on stage. If you are an easily offended person, we feel bad for you. And you know what? We just do not care. Coming up first, today. He's the longest continuously operating retailer in the game, always smoking on the best weed in the world. But when he's in Florida, the Mar-a-Lago staff's been known to call him Gucci Blanco. If he's rocking mink coats in the frozen dirty mitten of Detroit, the moniker is White Gucci. But if you catch this man walking around asking questions the world needs answers to in a sport coat and a microphone powered by radioactive bong water, chances are you have been acquainted with Bong Burgundy, America's #1 right-leaning anchorman and my part-time partner in crime, Jason Beck. What do you have for us on this beautiful Tuesday morning?
Wow, Rico, you becoming a rapper all of a sudden? You got some bars going on over there.
That's San Quentin, baby.
Yeah, I do have to give a trigger warning because this story that I have to bring to you all today is definitely going to piss some people off. It's going to anger you. It's going to infuriate you. And it may even draw a little tear from your eye. Because a terminally ill Kansas man's hospital room was raided by cops because he used a weed vape and THC paste to ease the symptoms of his cancer that will kill him within the weeks. On December 16th, Hayes, Kansas police raided the hospital room of 69-year-old Greg Bretz, B-R-E-T-Z, who is suffering from terminal cancer after a hospital worker at Hayes Medical Center caught him vaping marijuana. Brett said he has been vaping as well as eating THC paste with bread to relieve symptoms of his condition since being hospitalized roughly 3 weeks ago. Brent is in the final stages of terminal inoperable cancer and told the Wichita Eagle that he most often lies flat on his back in his hospital bed and can't stand up without being assisted. Brett's told the Kansas City Star that his doctor told him to use whatever was necessary to relieve his pain, including products containing THC, the active ingredient in cannabis. Police told Bretz that his vaping device could potentially be a fire hazard due to the presence of oxygen in the room. In many vaping devices, puffing activates the battery-powered heating device, which vaporizes the liquid in the cartridge or reservoir for inhalation. Bretz was cited for drug possession and is set to appear in court after the new year on January 2nd, 2023. Medicinal cannabis is legal. Medicinal cannabis is illegal in Kansas, despite 68% of the state residents support state-sanctioned medical marijuana access, according to the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, aka NORML. Idaho, and Nebraska also ban this practice as well. And just hope everyone pulls out their pen, pad, and paper real quick, because Aaron Cunningham is the name of the city prosecutor listed online, and the municipal court phone number is as follows: 785-625-1070. That number again is 785-625-1070. Aaron Cunningham is the name of the prosecutor on this case. And I just think everybody needs to call them and tell them that this is a gross misstep, overreach of the justice system. And the fact that you're dragging in a man that's on his deathbed to go to court is just totally, totally ridiculous. And I just don't even know what to say. This is Jason Beck reporting for the High at 9 News Hour.
Terrible.
Fucking terrible, dude.
Terrible.
Fucking garbage. Garbage.
As someone who's donated lots of, RS to hospices and to people that are in stage 4 cancers and seen actually what miracles it can do. This is like exactly the problem with the whole not to just blame conservatives, but with the conservative rhetoric in these states. The only 3 states that are left that have no medical, no medical legislation at all for cannabis are like Kansas, Texas, Nebraska. I mean, let's get with the program, guys.
I mean, Texas has a medical program. Nebraska doesn't have anything.
Idaho,
Kansas. Yeah, there's a lot more than 3, Saman.
I mean,
I think there's
only
pretty ironic that. Sorry, go ahead, Saman.
No,
there's 38 medical states. 38.
I thought there was 47 states that have passed.
No, that's CBD.
No.
There's CBD and then there's medical. So some states have CBD allowed, and other ones have actual medical.
I'll do some more research on it.
You do.
Either way, this is bullshit. This is crazy. I mean, the one thing, I got into this industry because I really wanted to. I wasn't even willing to take a stand. I was with a company. We're just down the middle, telling the good, bad, and the ugly. And what really changed my opinion on cannabis was the medical side, and seeing people who were dying, who have no hope of any other traditional drugs working for them. And even if it's just quality of life, just a little extra comfort in the final days, people should be allowed to use whatever they want. I don't care if it's elephant shit. Whatever you want to make your final days better, people should be allowed to use.
I agree. If there's something that makes you feel better, and you're in your dying days, use whatever the hell it is, regardless of whatever it is. I agree with you, Gretchen, in that same
Jason,
thought.
what's the next step on this guy? Where is he in the system?
Well, he has court on the 2nd. He's supposed to appear in court, and how they're going to get him to appear in court? Like, what are they going to do? They're going to roll him in a bed. They're going to call an ambulance to bring him over to court. I mean, at the same time too, I mean, for this gentleman, I mean, I would say fuck court and just, have a failure to appear. Who cares?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? They're going to come arrest me in the hospital and bring me down to the station where they're going to put me in a medical ward anyway, back in the hospital.
More headlines. They don't.
Yeah,
they definitely don't want that. Let's see.
We have Gary Stein though up in the audience from Clubhouse. What do you have for us, Gary? Gary, you with us? All right. Well, that's amazing, Gary. Thanks so much for that. Did you have something to say on this, Nicole? Maybe not. Go ahead, Saman.
Nah, I mean, we're all speechless. This is ridiculous.
I got something to say. I find it's a cruel irony that the most rabidly and vehemently Christian states are the ones that display the most cruelty and lack of compassion. And I think that the people who call themselves Christians really need to buy mirrors this holiday season and sit down and look at themselves in them.
Yes. With that, Gary's back. What do you have for us, Gary? Gary, I see you. And I see it sounds like you're speaking, but I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, yeah, this is Gary from Minnesota. And I was wondering, Jason, where'd you get that really nice sweatshirt?
Gary's actually from Florida.
Hi, this is Gary from Florida. And
that's weird. I'm not sure why that isn't working, Gary, but it's not working.
I hear you, Gary.
You hear Gary?
I hear him loud and clear. And he's got a great voice as well.
You're listening to Mathieu St Germain.
Oh, hi, this is Gary Rico. I really like your new headphones.
The fuck?
Oh yeah. Here we go. Well, I mean, we're gonna keep it moving. Thank you guys all for that story. I really feel for this guy, and please call the court, bug them all day, because they should not be appropriating any of their revenues to go towards this.
I was gonna say, is there anything that we can do as a community to amplify this even more? This is beyond fucked up.
Agreed.
Beyond.
Definitely.
Agreed.
I mean, it would be nice if some advocates and folks rolled out to the courthouse on the 2nd and did a protest.
Real talk.
People should roll up all in beds and just identify themselves as this gentleman in the courtroom.
Roll up and roll up.
Yeah. That would be awesome. Leah Patrick, are you with us? I think we're having a problem with Clubhouse. I think we're having a problem with Clubhouse, you guys. I think this is a Clubhouse glitch that it's not working. Because I've seen Nicole come off and try to speak too. And so I'm not quite sure. I'm not a technical expert, but we're having some technical difficulties over here.
Make sure the fader is up and on the road.
The fader is up.
Cross that fader.
Yeah, they're on the crossfade. They are on the crossfade. All right, well, we're gonna keep this moving, whistling along. Thank you guys all for that. Sorry to our Clubhouse audience. For some reason, we are having some technical difficulties with this app today. But nonetheless, coming up next, it is the dope dad himself. That's right, Rico Lamitte. When he is not taking care of kids, or actually when he is taking care of kids, you can find him making macaroni necklaces and especially decorative things for Kwanzaa with pasta shells. That's right, because they try to keep it totally organic in the household and use GMO-based noodles for all of their macaroni needs.
Stay-based.
Yes. What would you say? State-based?
Stay-based.
Stay-based? You stay-based? Oh, man. When he's not doing that, you can find him doing the same damn thing with grown-ups in a TEDx convention where he commonly has to change their diapers and pad their eyelids because of all the tears that they constantly are spewing because of their epic failures in life. That's right. It is the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
Thank you very much, Jason. So my headline today is coming from Green Market Report's John Schroyer. What went right, what went wrong, and what went sideways in 2022 cannabis. 2022 dev had its ups and downs in cannabis, and usually the most cringeworthy articles can easily be found around this time of year, coming from financial-minded outlets predicting the top companies to watch for 2023, or why company X will win big this year, or something to that bullshit effect. They're all mainstream media bullshit, clickbait sponsored posts, and nearly all of the major publications are guilty of doing it. Forbes, Benzinga, Ganjapreneur, you name them, they've done it. And while it's usually easy to spot who's paying the bills at the majors when it comes to our lane, because let's face it, only a handful of companies can actually afford to stay on the positive side of the news consistently. This one from Green Market Report was actually more balanced than what I'm used to, so I had to give John Schroyer at Green Market Report his props, though I did make a few edits and additions, because I think that they lack the proper access to get more qualitative data coming from the streets. I'm sure Chad, Brad, Becky, and Karen on GMR's intern squad, they're not up late on Telegram clocking for the real deal. But let's dig in with 2022's good, bad, and ugly, starting with what went right. Maryland and Missouri legalized bringing the new grand adult use, bringing in the new adult use into the U.S. The grand tally to 21 plus asterisks in Washington, D.C., Guam, and the Northern Mariana Islands. Also, 6 new U.S. state rec markets launched, with Montana, New Mexico, New Jersey, Vermont, Rhode Island, New York, all gearing up to do battle with the blessed and highly favored Freedom Market, who, like the internet, remains undefeated on all fronts. The trap is kind of like herpes. You can't suppress it, choose not to talk about it, or even ignore public data showing 67% of the global population has the shit, but it's still there, and it's gonna still be there tomorrow, so you guys better strap up. When an 80-year-old Joe Biden finally dropped balls 2 years into his presidency to launch a rescheduling review in October to pardon nonviolent federal cannabis convictions, he also kicked off what'll most likely lead to federal legalization. The problem is that he decided to be cryptic, making it unclear if the administration will move cannabis to Schedule 1, from Schedule 1 to Schedule 5, or even remove it altogether. He did, however, sign into law the Medical Marijuana Research Bill, the first pro-cannabis measure to move forward since the outright ban under President Richard Nixon. And the Medical Marijuana and Cannabidiol Research Act may have been the most symbolic victory more than anything else, but hey, progress, right? Now let's talk about what went wrong this year. Every other congressional cannabis bill died. Safe Banking Act, dead, despite being passed 7 times before, and all the last minute shucking and jiving. It was kind of poetic to have Marijuana Mitch himself, or Cocaine Mitch, depending on who you ask, kill it off in the end. Sheer bitterness, knowing that he'll soon be reduced from majority leader to power bottom, again, depending on who you ask. Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act, aka Chuck Schumer and Cory Booker's Fire Fest, never even received a hearing. But I thought y'all had a major 420 announcement to make and shit. No, they didn't. MORE Act, passed twice by the House, also never got any Senate love to earn it a vote or a hearing, because Firefest took all the marketing dollars. Other negative shit that happened this year: voters in Arkansas, North Dakota, and South Dakota rejected ballot proposals to legalize adult use, with South Dakota stinging the most because they actually voted to legalize rec back in 2020. But Governor Kristi Noem said not on her watch, and she actually sued her own damn state to throw out the victory on a technicality. And then she actually flew out the all-time leader in backdoor abortion funding efforts himself, Herschel Walker, out to be by her side at the victory press conference. Seriously, look that shit up. Wholesale price commoditization accelerated through 2022, sending prices down, hitting a national bottom of $955 per pound this December, closing out at 26% in the red for the year. And when prices drop, so do the jobs. Q3 and 4 left both plant touching and ancillary companies cut costs and staff. And some of the most notable on a national level were Curaleaf. They laid off 220 employees in November, with plenty more sure to follow after the market reacts to yesterday's oligarchy news. TrueLeave laid off an unknown number of workers between November and December, sparking lawsuits from former employees and municipalities alike, blindsided by such a nice corporation acting like a corporation. LeafLink dropped 80 workers this month, and they're probably going to be doing more in January. Sonoma LabWorks actually closed down and laid off 25 people. Weedmaps had 2 major rounds this year, dropping 60 in August and another 175 laid off in December. Leafly axed 21% of its staff in Q3. And then Jay-Z's, the parent company, was a bit more stealth than everyone else, cutting about 33% of its staff, but it was throughout the entire year as opposed to doing it all at once at the end. But now let's talk about what went sideways, the question marks that remain. New York, their adult use launch. Yeah, recreational sales will actually hit the registers this Thursday, netting Gretchen Gailey $100 from Jason Beck, but the public really can't call Hochul a liar for that one. But the future of licensing program is still a giant question mark due to a brewing lawsuit that just might end up in the Supreme Court trying to overturn their residency requirements for permit holders. The case is already indefinitely stalled out at least 18 retail licenses while the state preps for a lengthy legal battle ahead. Hold on. There's also been a massive confusing cloud surrounding the 36 retail license for recipients on when, how, and if they'll even benefit from the promised $200 million fund to build out their shops. More to come on that one later this week. I got some inside information. California tax reform. In June, California Governor Gavin Newsom finally signed into law a state budget that included cannabis tax relief, eliminating the weight-based cultivation tax, and made other significant structural changes to how the 15% excise tax is actually collected. But in the months since, industry insiders said real-world relief has been minimal at best, and many are worried about potential excise tax increases due to tax revenue shortfalls. And oh yeah, the fact lawmakers actually plan to raise excise tax rate in 2025 anyways. And then there's inflation. Though it took a while for to hit us as hard as everyone else, it eventually did, and it wasn't pretty at all. Rising costs of operation and deflating price of product made it hard for operators to navigate for sure, and drove many out of the industry altogether. The silver lining there, bargain shoppers finding plenty of opportunity to buy businesses, supplies, and product for pennies on the dollar. Shrewd investors who wouldn't touch cannabis over the last 10 years are seeing nothing but upside at this point. With legalization looming, much of the stigma gone, and not too many folks left around with enough fight in them left to push back on lowball offers. That's capitalism, baby, capitalism. And anybody rolling their eyes at that last point can just look to Joe Biden giving his best Elon Musk impression with his rescheduling review tweet on October 6th, resulting in weed stocks jumping double digits instantly, sending the entire sector into weeks of volatility, with the craziest trading period resulting in a Wall Street bets-esque 50% swing in a single day. So in summary, it was the shittiest year in the industry for most, moderate for some, and great for the trappers. My big prediction for 2023, Jason Beck launches the most exclusive, anticipated NFT trading card collection of all time with artwork done by Banksy and the first 100 buyers receiving an on-demand access to touching a single square foot of one of his mink coats. No, seriously, don't believe the hype behind anyone claiming to know for sure what's going to happen in the future, y'all. Tomorrow is not promised until we get shit right today. My advice is the same as it's always been. Stay true to yourself, your family, your friends, your community, and build with the ones who are reciprocating on the other end with their end of the workload. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and never give the haters more energy than those you love. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. Any other ups, downs, or sideways from anybody on the team? What are some major news stories that you think that we need to end the year on? What do you think, Jason?
Oh, man, news stories to end the year on. I mean, I think
good, bad, the ugly.
I mean, I think there's a few more stories that I think that will definitely be telling that I know that are in the lineup today. But I mean, I just like to wait and see, and I'm willing to put money on too the fact that we will see more of the story that I covered yesterday, as far as the fallout around Curaleaf and Roman Abramowski and all of these financial findings. But you missed it yesterday, Gretchen.
Yeah, Gretchen.
I'm sure it was a good one.
Abramowski, it's Abramovich, and he should.
Yeah, Abramovich. There we go.
I mean, it's crazy they laid off so many people. I mean, doesn't that dude just like have money sitting around? I mean, he like gave away Chelsea Football Club. He did a bunch of stuff. I mean, probably sold a yacht or two. I mean, you know, he could have stuffed the pockets. He could have burned a little more cash for Curaleaf, probably.
He could have pieced out one of those yachts, one of those $500 million yachts, and just gave the cash, gave back the tip. Weren't they fucking skimming people on tips too?
Ouch.
Oh, I have heard that. Yes, we did actually cover a story in regards to that. Yeah, they there's a lot going on out there, man.
Shout out to Curaleaf.
Yes, exactly.
Dirty,
great.
I don't know if I agree with John Schroer's assessment of the New York market.
Okay.
I don't know if I would say that it's gone sideways. I mean, frankly, it's done a lot better than other markets have, and every market has picked up. Who just said really? Jason Beck?
I did.
Serious?
Yeah, Jason Beck.
How has it done better?
How has it done better?
$100 on in 2
live
days.
under a rock?
You live under a rock? $100 better than California market. Jason.
I mean, I'm gonna get Gretchen's back on this one. Like, they are actually opening the first.
They are opening a dispensary. Traditionally, it takes 2 years to get a market up and running. These folks are gonna get it going.
That doesn't mean just because they did it faster doesn't mean they're doing it better. Okay?
I never said they did it better, but I think it.
You just did.
No, I didn't.
You said that
Jason
they
Beck,
do it better.
Rewind the tape. I said that I think that
they have
to say it went sideways is ingenuous. It didn't go sideways. It's going fine.
It's still going sideways.
Are you
even with the store open?
The $200 million fund that is nothing. The whole Chris Webber shit.
Good Lord!
Nobody's
look
getting
at every other terrible opening of the industry in states. Look at Maryland. Look at a shit ton of other ones. Look at California. That one's doing great. I mean, to pretend that New York is doing so piss poorly is ridiculous.
They are doing so piss poorly.
It's a big question mark.
It's just truth.
All I said is I don't agree with sideways. It hasn't gone sideways. It's par for the course that there are lawsuits. There are hiccups.
Right. It hasn't gone sideways, Gretchen. It's done a total 180 and is going in the exact opposite direction that it should be going in.
Okay, well, you can do a 180 into my wallet because you owe me $100.
Not till we see a receipt. Not till we see a receipt. But I have been told by some friends of mine who I do believe represents that group legally that they are planning on selling weed that day. So I am anticipating on paying you once we see I still don't believe that they're going to have it ready in time.
You're the only person.
They're not even doing sales till 4:20 in the afternoon, so it means they're going to take all day. It's going to be like one big circle jerk in the morning, and then all of a sudden it's going to roll around to 4:20, and they're going to have product ready for sale. You know, I'm still not buying. It's going to happen.
Circle jerk opening the doors of the New York market, and you're going to owe me $100. Deal with it.
Steve D'Angelo's gonna ring in the first customer.
Oh man, that would be too funny.
It's for sale everywhere in New York, and the cops aren't busting you for smoking joints in public. So that's a win.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yes, that part is a big win. But at the same time, it is allowed for the illicit market to flourish, known as the freedom market.
Hallelujah.
Freedom market, respect.
Yes.
All right.
You can play that. You can play that American anthem, Jason. Yes. There it is. The freedom market. Trap or die.
Yes.
At the end of that, we need
the freedom market.
At the end of that, we need a Mel Gibson freedom.
Oh man. The uncancelable, another uncancelable American. He's not even American. He's fucking Australian. Is he Australian?
He's Australian, but you know, he definitely had some racist outbursts. But I think now he's out of the news. It's all about Kanye. So I think Mel Gibson's good. He's probably happy. He's like,
are you saying that Mel Gibson is the new Kanye?
No, he's the old.
He's the old Kanye.
Kanye's the new Mel Gibson.
Okay, all right. There we go.
I'm gonna let you guys handle this side of the conversation.
This went more sideways than the New York market.
Yeah. Oh, nice one.
All right, let's keep this party rolling. All right, she is a spicy redheaded conservative, well known in DC circles for cooking up excellence in the kitchen, but not pizza in the basement. And pot loving lives across the aisle. Better watch out because she ain't afraid to mix it up verbally when push comes to shove. Coming to the stage next is the founder of Panoptic Strategies and our very own Washington insider herself, Gretchen Gailey.
Good afternoon. Well, staying with my love of New York, we're going to check in with its favorite senator, Chuck Schumer, who has made a pledge to tackle federal marijuana decriminalization next year. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is making a pledge to keep working on federally decriminalizing marijuana in 2023 after advocates faced a series of reform setbacks this month. Speaking on the Senate floor on Thursday, Schumer acknowledged the work of a key staffer, Reggie Babin, who is departing from his office after spearheading legislative efforts to advance cannabis reform. He said there are a couple of things that he didn't get done. His goal to help us decriminalize marijuana was one of his passions because he has seen how badly it had hurt communities throughout the country. We came close, but we didn't make it. However, Schumer said that it's his pledge to Babin that we're going to continue your work and your legacy next year. You have built a great bipartisan coalition, and I believe we can get it done. While Schumer did produce a comprehensive marijuana legalization bill in July, alongside Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden and Senator Cory Booker, it's been clear that the wide-ranging legislation did not have enough support to clear the 60-vote threshold for passage in the Senate. So Schumer has worked to finalize a package of more incremental reforms centering around cannabis banking and expungements. Advocates hope the legislation would be attached to a large-scale spending bill or defense bills that needed to move before the end of the session, but that did not happen. And in large part because supporters faced opposition from Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and other Republicans. The lead House sponsor of the Safe Banking Act, Representative Ed Perlmutter, filed an amendment to the Appropriations Omnibus Bill on Friday to include the reforms, but it was essentially a symbolic gesture before his retirement from Congress, and he didn't force a vote on it. A Senate source said recently that Schumer was making a last-ditch effort to attach the cannabis banking legislation to the spending bill, but the majority leader wasn't able to get the deal done. He said the issue would need to wait until the next Congress, which will see Republicans in control of the House. It's clear that negotiations were around adding anything new to the spending bill, and drug policy reform suffered as a final deal was forged, in addition to the lack of safe banking or safe flush language. The legislation also omitted several other reform proposals that were attached to spending measures approved in the House and Senate earlier this year. The final bill also maintains a rider that blocks Washington, D.C. from implementing a system of regulated cannabis commerce, another major setback for advocates. Senate Banking Committee Chairman Sherrod Brown has signaled that he viewed cannabis banking as a likely 2023 issue, though a staffer said this month that he would still be open to passing it through the spending package if it contained broader provisions. Representative Patrick McHenry, who will serve as chairman of the House Financial Services Committee in the next Congress, recently indicated that he similarly feels the issue will need to be decided after the lame duck. The congressman said that he remains open to safe banking, but he left the door open to advancing it if that's the will of his Republican colleagues. What I've pledged is having an open process. I told my members my view of it. Members are able to come to their own conclusion about the bill. It's so variable state by state. For his part, Booker has also pinned blame on McConnell, saying that his vocal opposition to cannabis reform has had a chilling effect of GOP members who might otherwise be amenable to passing legislation that contains safe banking language. They're dead set on anything in marijuana, he said, referring to Republican leadership. That, to me, is the obstacle. The caucus is clearly divided, but the people in power in their caucuses are clearly against doing anything on marijuana, he added. Well, I'm sorry, but I think Senator Cory Booker is misinformed as usual. And I do love how we are spreading the love out there for Reggie Babin, who really did nothing to get cannabis reform done. He spoke a big game on the Hill and had nothing ever to back it up. So I felt that was more of a disservice than anything to this industry and to legislation. And frankly, if we're going to rely on Chuck Schumer to carry the water in 2023, prepare to be thirsty. Nothing's happening. This is Gretchen for High at 9 News.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
I think Chuck Schumer's, at this point, he's just talking to talk.
I mean, a
You
pledge.
mean being a politician? You mean being a politician?
Did he facts? Did he stand up for said pledge? Did he put his hand on his heart for the pledge? Was there music playing in the background for this pledge?
Was there allegiance?
The knee with Pelosi, bro. I think that's what they were doing.
Oh,
what kind of
taking
allegiance?
a knee.
What kind of allegiance was made behind the scenes?
Yeah, is there any more details to this pledge, Gretchen? Is there, like, can we find it on his website? Is it written out? Did a staffer type it?
No, it's not an official pledge. He said it on the Senate floor, so you can rewind the tape, Jason Beck, and go back to what was said on the Senate floor on Thursday. He said, "I pledge to continue to keep up the fight," which is bullshit.
The only pledge I trust Chuck Schumer with just might be underneath my kitchen sink.
Actually, hold on a second, Gretchen. You're saying that his pledge was strictly to keep up the fight.
Yeah.
Fight on.
That's
I think he's listening to a little bit too much
Yes.
Journey last night.
I think he's not raising the bar too high here.
Stop believing.
I don't know what's worse, Russell Wilson or Chuck Schumer trying to keep the hope alive. I don't know. It's terrible.
Chuck is ridiculous. I love how everyone is so scared of Mitch McConnell. Grow a pair, put the thing up for a vote. That's what they needed to do.
exactly 100%. 100%. Grow a pair and throw it up on the floor for a vote, and let's see where the chips fall.
Exactly.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
No, I don't even know what to say at this point. Like Chuck Schumer just saying a bunch of bullshit. At least his hair plugs look really, really nice in that picture in the article.
Mhm.
But like other than that, like what's the point of even like covering Chuck Schumer at now? He's not in power anymore. They still have the Senate.
Well, yeah, they still have the Senate, but hold on.
The Senate.
They yeah, but only probably for a few more days because I've been hearing that
You mean a few more
what's his
days?
face? What's his face? The guy in West Virginia, Manchin. I heard Manchin may be coming over to the red side.
Manchin is he going to the red, or is he going to go independent as well?
He may be dropping the D, from what I hear.
What about the fake senator out in New York? What about that guy?
Oh man,
He's a congressman. He's not a senator.
that's insane. That guy's insane. And then he gets on. Did you hear this? Did you hear the comment he made? He's like, people are saying I'm a fraud. I wouldn't get up here and be a fraud. Hilarious.
He's like, y'all should have fucking Googled me.
The best is like he's trying to he's trying to play off his family history as like them being Jewish and part of the Holocaust.
I said I was Jew.
What the fuck do you have to be to like make that up?
Like, my mother dated a Jewish guy.
I'm not circumcised until I was 13. Hey, I'm Jewish.
Chris.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh
He's
my
good stuff.
God.
And Jason, you'll love this. The other night on Christmas Eve, I drove past the tour buses in front of Kamala's house and saw all the.
Oh, is that right?
Wow.
Oh, you saw
the children waiting in the freezing cold.
I was like, what tourists are lost at 10 o'clock on Christmas Eve? This is bizarre.
Yeah, Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis are some real quality people.
I can't believe that Kamala
people.
didn't invite them in.
I'm sure Kamala's not home. They usually go away for the holidays.
I mean, but she has a staff. She has a staff.
That would have been an amazing PR stunt by Kamala to open the door and start giving them.
Oh yeah, that would have been. That would have been the best. That would have been like the Democrats need to own it and like just do it.
Democrats are terrible at the PR game. I don't know what their problem is.
Oh man, they're the worst.
They try to please everybody.
I mean,
they're the Washington Generals of politics.
They read and respond to the comment section
live. Bro, that's what it's been the last couple decades. It's like the Republicans have been the Globetrotters, the Democrats have been the Generals, and I've just been like, oh man, can we just get some help for the people? Can we just get some help for the people?
Mitch McConnell over here on his lips while he's dribbling.
Jeez, guys. Oh man, you know what? We're gonna go pay. Yeah, we're gonna go pay a quick bill. We're gonna be right back. When you want to grow some of the best weed in the world, then you must start with the best genetics in the world. Go to www.dnagenetics.shop to order regular, feminized, or autoflower beans. All of your favorite DNA genetics cultivars such as Kosher Kush, Skywalker Kush, and oh yeah, Chocolate Truffle Shuffle. Boasting more cannabis awards for their award-winning genetics than any other company in the world. Remember to go to www.dnagenetics.shop to see why our terps don't lie. Flying into LAX and you want to taste some of the best weed in the world? Then stop by LAXCC, the closest dispensary to LAX. Located at 8332 Lincoln Boulevard and open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. Always make LAXCC your first stop when you touch down in LA and score like a winner. And don't forget to tell them I sent you and mention you'd like to get high at 9 for 10% off your full order.
You know, you switched up the sheet. You mean grab this one?
Well, either that or
I got it. He's a
patient
advocate and 14-year industry vet working in regulated markets across the U.S. from CO, CA, FL, MA, and most recently NJ, New Jersey. Oh, I didn't just say the fucking states. Saman is an award-winning solvent extraction pioneer and product innovator who specializes in licensing, facility design, and build out product process and systems development and education. He's also a student and true believer in the medical properties of cannabis and has developed various wellness products currently sold on the market that improve the lives of hundreds of people every motherfucking day. Saman Razani, what do you have for us on this beautiful Tuesday morning?
Thank you, my people. Thank you. Thank you to all our listeners tuning in after the holidays. I hope everyone had a happy holiday, happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus for the rest of this, and Christmas for all the other people out there that have nothing better to celebrate.
Don't forget the winter solstice.
Oh yeah. Can't forget the solstice.
Feast of Saturnalia.
Yeah, definitely. And in Farsi we call it Yalda, and it's a time where everyone gets together. It's the darkest night of the year and the longest, darkest night of the year. And it's a great time to reconnect with your family. So let's connect with our local politics in the great state of Texas. This is coming from Marijuana Moment, Kyle Yeager. Texas marijuana activists submit enough signatures to challenge local decriminalization repeal, while another city's reform faces a lawsuit. Very interesting news coming out of the Lone Star State. Texas activists have turned in more than enough signatures to put local measure on the May ballot to overturn lawmakers' repeal of a voter-approved marijuana decriminalization initiative, but they also are facing another legal challenge in a different city where voters passed a similar reform last month. The response from lawmakers and prosecutors to the multiple reforms that were approved during the November election has been a source of frustration for advocates, including those who are part of the main organization group Ground Game Texas. But they've shown they won't back down and are prepared to fight to defend the will of the voters. That's been especially clear in Harker Heights, where City Council voted to repeal the local decrim measure. Activists quickly collected signatures to put an initiative on the next ballot to repeal the action. Way to go, Texans. Officials announced on Thursday that they had turned in enough valid signatures to qualify the ballot for placement. It is expected to be officially certified by a council meeting on January 10th. Harker Heights Assistant City Manager Jerry Bark, I almost said Beck, like it was Jason's cousin, said in a press release that the examination of the petition has been complete and determined that the petition meets all the requirements in accordance with the state law and city charter. In quotes, the certification of the referendum does not revive Chapter 133 or Prop A. He added, additionally, the city will continue to respect and operate under the laws of the state of Texas that mandate and required conduct for law enforcement officers and prohibit the adoption of any policy under which the city will not fully enforce laws relating to drugs. The petition's success is positive news for advocates, but they're separately facing a legal challenge in Killeen, with Bell County commissioners voting unanimously on Thursday to file a lawsuit against the city on the basis that, from their perspective, voters cannot locally decriminalize cannabis if it's illegal at the state level. The lawsuit has the support of Bell County District Attorney Henry Garza, who said that last week's commission's vote was really the beginning of getting this particular question before the court, which is the effect of a local municipal ordinance when it comes into conflict with the state law. The county commissioner voted to direct the county attorney and himself to get involved in the beginning and get the question answered. He said that it's the only way to get into court to get the court to begin a legal action. It's unclear when the lawsuit will be filed. Ground Game Texas saw several successes in last month's election, with decriminalization passing locally in Denton, Elgin, and San Marcos, in addition to Harker Heights and Killeen. Activists are keeping their eye on San Marcos too. An outgoing district attorney recently made a request that the state attorney general issue an opinion on a separate decriminalization initiative that voters approved overwhelmingly there. The reform measure might be new to the cities where lawmakers are raising concerns, but they're not without precedent in the Lone Star State. Austin voters, for example, strongly approved a marijuana decriminalization measure this past May, and it doesn't appear that the city has grappled with any major legal battles over the modest policy change. Meanwhile, San Antonio, the second largest city by population, could get the chance to locally decriminalize marijuana in May of 2023, after activists announced in October that they were launching a signature drive for ballot placement. While there's been a surge of local action on marijuana issues under home rule laws in Texas over recent years, statewide reform has generally stalled in the conservative legislature. The House approved cannabis decriminalization bill in 2019, but it did not advance the Senate. At that session, lawmakers have since been unable to pass additional expansive cannabis bills in recent sessions. For his part, Governor Greg Abbott said that he doesn't believe people should be incarcerated over low-level marijuana possession. However, the governor incorrectly suggests that lawmakers have already adopted these policies statewide. A poll released this month found a majority of Texas voters support legalizing marijuana, and about 4 in 5 residents feel cannabis should be legal for medical or recreational use. House Speaker Dade Phelan, I hope I'm saying that right, Phelan, said in September that he will work to enact criminal justice reform in the 2023 session, and he gained express support for lowering penalties for marijuana possession. Former U.S. Rep. Beto O'Rourke, Jason's favorite former U.S. rep, who was the Democratic gubernatorial nominee in Texas this year, has long advocated for an end to marijuana prohibition and included the reform as a tenet of his campaign. But he ultimately lost the race to Greg Abbott. There were some drug policy reforms that did advance in the legislature during the last year's session, but not necessarily at the pace that advocates had hoped to see. A bill to expand the state's medical cannabis program and another to require a study into the therapeutic potential of certain psychedelics for military veterans were enacted. The Texas Republican Party adopted a platform plank endorsing decriminalization of marijuana possession in 2018, but that was later rescinded. Separately, the state Supreme Court heard testimony in March in a case concerning the state's ban on manufacturing smokable hemp products, the latest development in a drawn-out legal battle on the policies first proposed and challenged in 2020. In San Antonio, activists will need to collect at least 20,000 valid signatures from registered voters by early January to qualify them for the May 2023 ballot. The group said that they plan to submit a minimum of 35,000 signatures. And that wraps it up from Texas.
There's a lot going on in Texas.
A lot going on in Texas.
The battleground. Jesus.
You know what's not going on in Texas? Legalize weed.
There it is.
You know what else is going on? A lot of trap weed. A lot.
Hell yeah.
It's a lot of Delta 8.
Jason, I know you're friends with, I know you sat down with Greg Abbott recently. What does he have to say?
Yeah,
I mean, Greg Abbott is. We're working on some reforms with Greg Abbott on this one. So
did you help?
That's all that I can say at the moment.
Did you help him work out that Greyhound route to Washington D.C.?
We did work on some travel plans. Yeah, we took the expeditious route.
Yeah, to get those immigrants out there.
The fact that gas is so high, we had to you know what I'm saying, take the shorter distance routes.
Texas gas isn't high, not compared to here.
All gas is high. Doesn't matter where you're at. All gas is expensive.
Didn't he move Tesla down there? Is why they complaining?
I don't know. You guys are just ridiculous. You guys. We're short on time. We're short on time. We got to keep this moving. You guys don't have anything interesting to say.
I was just talking bullshit, and I had something actually to say.
Oh, go ahead, Gretchen, please. If you have something real to say,
I have something real to say. I
go
think
for it, please.
This, like we've seen in many other states that are not the most favorable to cannabis reforms, advocates, voters, citizens, everyone just needs to stay on their lawmakers. You can't just say, oh, it passed and then walk away. You have to be in the fight and make sure your people know, especially your lawmakers, if they're not going to uphold what you voted for and what you pushed for, you're going to vote them out. And you need to hold their feet to the fire, and that's what Texas needs to do.
That's right. You got to be in it to win it.
That's right.
Yep. They need to do something with their lieutenant governor. That's
my last comment actually got censored. I actually saw myself get censored in real time in the comments section.
That's the first time you've seen that? I see myself get censored so many times.
It's a big.
What did you say to get censored?
I was talking shit.
We got to move.
About
we got to move. We got to move. We got to move. We're short on time. She's a cannabis patient, a plant medicine advocate, also the founder of Purple Plant Magic, a national brand ambassador for Black Buddha Cannabis, and the Encyclopedia on Power 88 in Las Vegas every Wednesday morning. It is none other than the Nicole Buffong.
Thanks so much, Jason, for that lovely introduction. Good morning, everyone. Sorry about the technical difficulties on Clubhouse. So hopefully we'll be back tomorrow. But my story today is coming out of Guyana, not to be confused with Ghana. Guyana is in the Caribbean. I did a story on the Rastafarian community last month. But Christmas Day, members of Guyana's Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, CANU, made a significant drug bust that resulted in the seizure of cannabis valued at millions of dollars. According to sources, CANU authorities carried out an operation on the main route in Blackbush Polder. I'm not making that up. That's what the name of the town is. Blackbush Polder on December 25th in an effort to stop a vehicle. The car was stopped along the road as its two male occupants got out and ran towards some adjacent shrubs. A further search of the car turned up 10 bags, several suspected cannabis bundles. Inside of them, the suspected drugs were taken in with the car and taken to the CANU office in Berbice. Remember that name, where they were analyzed and found to contain cannabis. Their street value is worth over $20 million. That's in US dollars. And one Guyana dollar is to 0.004 US dollars, just so you know. Last month in Guyana, a major operation resulted in the destruction of millions of dollars in narcotics, cannabis, found at several farms in, again, Berbice. According to the Guyana Police Force, a party of officers along with the Coast Guard, and the Guyana Defense Force were conducting operations in the Berbice River on Saturday. This is last month. And they were following up on a farmer's complaint of cattle rustling. I didn't know what that meant. I had to look it up. It means stealing of cattle by a farmer. And so the team went looking for the suspected cattle rustlers and found 8 acres with about 37,000 suspected plants, ranging in range from feet to 7 feet tall, which valued over 4,000 pounds. This is the Rastafarian community there in Guyana has also protested against the recent government's amendment to their bill. The approved amendment says that custodial sentences will be removed if a person is found with 1 to 15 grams of cannabis. If they are found with more than 30 grams of cannabis, they will be subject to community service under the Extramural Act. And could also serve up to 6 months for community service. This is an ongoing problem in Guyana, obviously. It's unfortunate that they're still spending police time and money and resources on locking people up for growing cannabis. The Rastafarian community there have been harassed for growing their own plants, even after the amendment to this law happened back in June of this year. So it's just unfortunate that these small communities, small islands do not recognize the value of growing their own flower, of growing their own medicine, of creating tourism around the growing of the plant and the selling of the plant and the sharing of the plant. And so I continue my work that I can to help educate those legislators, but also the communities, because a lot of times it's the churches that are blocking those opportunities from happening in legislation. And so it's requiring a lot of education. So I'm interested in hearing what my people have to think about this story, what they think about this story. This is High at 9 News, Nicole Buffong reporting. I just hope that my Guyanese people understand value in cannabis and not in criminalizing it.
Yeah, we just gotta keep on chopping at that wood, right?
That's it.
Yep.
Keep
Chomping
going.
at the wood, huh? That's what it's called.
That's what it's called.
How big was this car? I mean, 20 million seems like a lot of product.
Well, it was only 4,000 pounds. It was a truck.
Hold on,
So it was
4,000
4,000
pounds.
pounds is what they said was in this truck.
Okay.
Sounds like $80 million worth of product to me.
I mean, if one Guyana dollar is 0.004 cents of US dollars, I mean,
Right.
for it to be worth
I mean,
20
that's an average of 5,000 US dollars per pound.
Was this before or after the FTX crash?
It sent ripples through the Caribbean all the way to
Yeah.
Guyana. Yeah.
Literally.
Nicole, how big is the Rastafarian community there? Is it a large
not
group?
very big. They are not as big as like a Jamaica or even a St. Vincent, especially in this fight. There are other communities that are larger, but they have a significant tribe there, enough for them to show up in front of the president's office last month to do a protest. They have their own board of Rastafarian leaders. So they have a president and they have a legal advisor. They were all mentioned in another article that I read, questioning the government's amendment to their bill to give people some sort of sling if they're found with more than 15 grams.
Yeah, I mean, it's very
Rastafarians are fighting for their, I'm sorry, the Rastafarians are fighting for their religious rights. They say that if every other religion can have sacrament, then they should be able to as well. And so that's the leg that they're standing on, regardless of criminalizing. They're of course saying sacrament is the most important. You're violating our religious rights. CARICOM came out with a report back in 2018 that recommended that all Caribbean islands decriminalize immediately, legalize the plant, figure out a regulatory process to do that because it's beneficial. That's what the report said, and so a lot of islands, our countries are still slow to making that change.
Well, also too, didn't the while the Queen was still alive, didn't she come out and block some of these islands from being able to enact their own cannabis policy also?
Well, absolutely. So not the CARICOM islands aren't necessarily islands. Not all the CARICOM islands are necessarily still under the rule of the Queen. And so there are islands that are separate from CARICOM that still are under the rule of the Queen, but some are not. Some have gained their independence.
Fascinating.
Down with the Queen.
Oh boy,
she's already down.
Here we go.
Well, a lot of them have denounced the king too now. So
good.
You know, there's that.
Yeah.
Fuck the mama's boy.
I mean, I think Prince Andrew is the one leading that charge, isn't he?
No, he is. Man. Let him go. Let him go on another cruise while they're waving at everybody. While they're shooting darts at his ass. All right, so
let's roll.
Let's keep it rolling. He's an immortal cannabis wizard with Transylvanian roots, chronicled globally by royal scribes throughout history for doing his damnness to continue the work of the original merry pranksters in the Brotherhood of Eternal Love. Man. Also the co-host of What's Good, a dude who dedicated the last 33 years of cannabis to cannabis sales, genetics, and cultivation that's earned his Hogwarts PhD in tripping balls. Here on short break from celebrating the Feast of Saturnalia to deliver the final story of today, it is the Count Mathieu St Germain.
Thanks, Brother Rico. Happy holidays, happy approaching New Year, and I'm going to be really quick. I have about 1 minute and 40 seconds. Detroit delays the launch of their highly sought-after recreational cannabis licenses. Michigan's cannabis market is consistently growing. However, Detroit is dealing with some issues. Cannabis regulators are reportedly not releasing the 90 applications they received in October for marijuana retail and lounge licenses, according to Axios. Detroit rejected the Freedom of Information Act request for application documents submitted by companies seeking the 60 available adult-use cannabis licenses. While grow licenses are unlimited, the city restricts the number of retailers and consumption venues that can open, making licenses highly sought after. The city is endeavoring to make its recreational weed industry equitable and accessible for longtime residents, the outlet reported. The city does plan to share the full list of successful and unsuccessful applicants with their score based on their application after it's finalized, Kim James, director of the city's cannabis office, told Axios. Additionally, there are 2 more application phases to come with 160 total licenses available. In 3 years since adult use cannabis has been legal in the Great Lakes state, only 155 social equity applicants have received licenses out of approximately 3,100 issued to date. And I'll just finish up by saying this is the model that hasn't worked in California, where you allow unlimited cultivation and manufacturing and then have a funnel, a bottleneck in retail. This is just a market for another a recipe for another crash. How about you guys with about our 30 seconds we got left? What do you got?
Well, hold on. I got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Was this a state sanctioned move or was this a city sanctioned move?
This is city. This is the city of Detroit.
So it's the city of Detroit that is stalling the permits to be issued.
This particular round of permits, yes.
This round of permits.
Yeah, so there's already 3,100 permits extant and available in Michigan. But this round in Detroit, which we're supposed to go to social equity applicants, have all been stalled.
Well, the state of Michigan has had their issues surrounding social equity, or Jason likes to call it socialist equity.
Socialist equity.
But there's something wrong with the politics there. Just keep it. Let's keep it at that. Let's keep it a buck. And they have been sweeping under the rug. And I know some people in the audience today.
That $40 million you're talking about?
$30 million that just disappeared. And then there's the $230 million lawsuit from Veritas Labs that seemed to just poof go away, along with all of the staff on their cannabis regulation authority.
Yeah.
As well. There's a lot of shady shit going on in Michigan right now. And we're going to start doing some uncovering of that over the next couple of weeks, because we have some insiders out there that have plenty of information and plenty of corroborated stories and lots of details and lots of government access and government documents that will tell a very different story when it comes to how Governor Whitmer has been handling things up there. So,
shocking. Shocking. Local governments are corrupt. I mean, state governments are corrupt. What are we like? You know, this is old news.
It's kind of like
it's on a whole different level out there in Michigan, man. Like crazy.
So hold on. So are you telling me, Rico, that that the state of Michigan and its cannabis policies and how they operate, whatnot, are pretty similar in regards to the Russian story? It's like basically everybody knows, but it takes a few years for all the paperwork to be released. Right.
Not even years. There's like months, bro. Like it's just like all happened like within the last like 6-7 months. And like everything was silenced right when she was running for office again. And then all of a sudden, when she gets back into office, all the people that were accused of doing a bunch of shit, they're gone.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You have something to say about this, Nicole? All this Michigander stuff?
It's some crazy shit.
Oh no, I love the tea. I cannot wait to tap into up there and see what's going on. So I love the exposure. Expose them all of them.
I mean, I'm with it. I like what the Weed for Warriors project said, where what Michigan is about as corrupt as a third world country in governance.
The mitten is dirty. But it's coming. It's coming from all angles too, and it's not looking good for their entire cannabis program. Like the sloppiness with how this whole thing's been handled over the last like 6 to 8 months. It's just crazy. So stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned. You guys on Popcorn?
Oh yes, stay tuned. Thank you all. That was a fantastic show. Thank you all for getting high at 9 with us, and every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our audience, our supporters, for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity and craziness that is the developing cannabis industry, and what that is actually developing into, we just don't know yet. Thank you to all of our haters for always talking about us, because we know that we have the most magnificent properties rent-free in your head on a daily basis. And thank you to True Classic, LAXCC, and DNA Genetics for helping us keep the lights on and somehow not making our clubhouse work. Thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing, and thank you to cannabis for giving us a reason to do this. Thank you to Nicole Buffong for trying to do the pins today and coming through with a solid story on the screen. And everyone, thank you so much for creating this space and tuning in and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday on America's #1 daily cannabis news show. Run it out.